What is going on, everybody? Today we have a special video with a special shoe, the New Balance More V5, which is, if you've been paying attention, one of my favorite running shoes of the year. I am going to make a comprehensive list of the shoes that I've enjoyed most this year based on what I've ran in and what I've tested in, and these are definitely going to be in the conversation. So without too much further ado, let's get into the 100+ mile update on the New Balance More V5. So as a little bit of a disclaimer, I do want to note that I have about 110 miles in the New Balance More V5, and that does not include me just wearing the shoe casually because I just think it's so comfortable. I like to wear the shoe casually and just walk around and stuff. So 110 miles is the amount of miles that I actually ran in the shoe. So let's get right into it. So starting out with the outsole of the New Balance More V5, as you can see, you may not actually be able to see that much of the outsole or in detail, but the traction ended up working pretty well for me. I wouldn't say it's the best traction that I've had. Again, I live in California. I usually run in pretty sunny and ideal weather conditions on the road. So I would say that the traction worked really well in those conditions, but if you're running in really wet and icy conditions, I don't think that this traction is gonna be too good just based on the outsole rubber that they use and the outsole pattern. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, as for durability of the outsole, I do see some wear on the outsole. If I look at it pretty closely, it looks like the black parts of the rubber outsole are wearing out now. With 110 miles on the shoe, plus, whatever I used to walk in this shoe, I think that that's pretty reasonable. Like, I don't expect these to last absurdly long, like 500 miles. I am a heavier runner. That's something to keep in mind. I am 200 pounds. So I do put a little bit more stress on shoes, I believe. So with my kind of grading of the outsole, I would say it's definitely passable. I would say it's around average, maybe a little bit below average for the outsole, but the outsole is holding up pretty well, and I haven't had too many issues with the outsole durability. Now, moving on to the section that I think everyone knows this shoe for, the cushioning. And it's one of the reasons why I love the shoe so much. So I think in my full review, I don't know how many months ago, I was questioning a little bit what the stack height actually was for the New Balance More V5, and I believe it is confirmed now to be 44 millimeters in the heel, dropping to 40 millimeters in the forefoot, whereas last year's model, the More V4, was 10 millimeters lower to the ground than that. Whether that's true or not, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just going to talk about how the cushioning felt for me. So initially, right out the box, I think that's what really separated this shoe from so many other shoes for me. It felt lively, it felt peppy, it felt really comfortable yet stable due to that wide platform, and it just was really versatile as such a big clunky shoe with so much cushioning and impact protection. So I would say that, that honeymoon phase with this shoe lasted for about 20 to 30 miles, maybe 40 miles. But, like a lot of New Balance shoes, in my experience, I felt that the cushion started to change as I put more and more miles on the shoe. And that's no different with the More V5. Now, I'm not saying that that's a completely bad thing, but I do want to note that that is something that happens, especially with New Balance shoes in my experience. So if you are a heavier runner like me, or you want your shoes to last a long time, or you want them to feel the same as far as cushioning goes, then this might not be the shoe for you. But I'm going to explain a little bit as to how the cushion setup changed for me. So 44 millimeters in the heel, 40 millimeters in the forefoot, giving it a 4 millimeter heel to toe drop, which is actually pretty low. And I would say that the first 40 miles in the shoe, first 40 to 50 miles maybe in the shoe, was extremely comfortable. No issues, no complaints. I thought that this shoe was amazing for long runs. I thought it was good for my daily training miles. And also, like, even for being a big shoe, I felt like I could pick up the pace because the foam just felt lively and it felt like it was compressing well. Like, it felt kind of like the Brooks Glycerin Max maybe, but at a price point of $155. So I was really excited for the shoe. But as I put more miles and miles into the shoe, I started to feel that the foam did compress. This is a Fresh Foam X full length foam. I haven't been paying too much attention to specs recently just because they vary so much based on marketing terms and stuff. So New Balance says it's a Fresh Foam X. I was like really surprised because I do have the More V4 from the previous year and it didn't feel like this. But over time, like I said, maybe past 50 to 60 miles, that's when I felt the shoe start to compress a little bit. But I wouldn't say that that's a completely bad thing. the honeymoon phase kind of wore off on me, where I was like, oh, like these are the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. And I did feel that the foam just didn't compress as much and didn't give that response that it used to back when it was a newer shoe. But the reason I say it's not a bad thing is because I still think that with this amount of stack height, and even though the cushion isn't as lively as it once was, it still provides ample impact protection. It still provides a little bit of versatility, and believe it or not, with the high stack height, you're still getting a little bit of ground feel with the shoe. So the way that I've been using this setup or this shoe is it's kind of become like a daily trainer for me. And I know that's pretty crazy to say of a max cushion shoe like this, but the stability of the shoe, the impact protection, the kind of response and ground feel that I get in the forefoot is kind of like the recipe of success for a daily trainer, especially for maybe a runner of my size at 6'1", 200 pounds. I think that this is going to be a great option for a lot of runners, especially with the price point of $155. I think you're getting a lot of bang for the buck with this shoe. Now, like I said, the cushion's durability may be a little bit lackluster. It just depends how you view it and, you know, how much stress you maybe put on the foam or the midsole. I think maybe for lighter runners, if you do prefer a max cushion shoe like this, it might last you a little bit longer, at least for the midsole. But for heavier runners like me, I think that it's gonna last a good 50 to 60 miles, and then it's gonna start to break in or compress. But like I said, it still has enough stack height where it's still gonna absorb a lot of impact. And even though it's not gonna be as lively as it once was out the box, it's still gonna be a pretty comfortable daily trainer. So that's kind of my spiel on the whole midsole. I think that even though the honeymoon phase wore out after a while, I think that it's still a fantastic shoe and the cushion setup is very comfortable. Again, it's rare also that you're gonna have such a high stack height and you're gonna get a little bit of ground feel with a good stability. And that stability is due to the base of the shoe. I think that this shoe is just a little bit wider than most max cushion shoes, so it really provides kind of like that stable feel, yet really comfortable and cushioned feel. So that's the midsole for me. I still think that it's one of the best on the market, especially for the price point. So I'm going to stick by that. And I still do enjoy running in this shoe. Now that we got the midsole out the way, let's get into the upper. So another thing that I really loved about this shoe is the upper and the fit. So first of all, these do run true to size. I have a slightly wider than average foot, maybe to the normal person. And I did go true to size with my US size 12. And honestly, it's a little bit snug, which is kind of how I like my shoes to fit. So I actually didn't have any problems with it. But if you do have really wide feet like I do, or maybe slightly wider feet, and you don't like a super snug fit in your running shoes, maybe go up half a size. But for me, I went true to size and I loved it. It kind of fits like Nike running shoes, and it just felt like a hug on my foot. And that's due to a couple variables and factors. So some of it is the gusseted tongue on this shoe, very comfortable. Gusseted tongue just means that the tongue is attached to the upper, so it doesn't move around a lot. And it kind of has a stretchy material, so once you put your shoe in, it kind of locks back in due to that stretching nature. And the heel collar, just along the ankle collar as well, has these perforations or holes that kind of act as like sticky rubber. They're not rubber, but it kind of sticks to your heel, which I personally really like. So in combination with the snug forefoot, with the heel lock and the gusseted tongue, you're just going to get a 1-to-1 fit. And this is what I believe how all running shoes should fit. Maybe it's a personal thing because this shoe fits me really well, and I'm not sure if it fits everyone really well, but I personally love the way that this shoe fits, and this is my ideal way that a running shoe should fit. So upper, fantastic when it comes to the fit. I would say go true to size if you like that snugger fit, and maybe go up half a size if you prefer a little bit more room in the forefoot and just a little bit more volume in general. Now, one of the downsides of the upper I want to talk about is the ventilation. This is a pretty thick mesh, and to be honest, you're not getting a lot of ventilation. I'm just gonna say it cut and dry. It is a thicker mesh option, but if ventilation is a huge deal to you, maybe you're running in a lot of humid conditions, or you get a lot of blisters, or you just get really hot feet, this shoe might not be the best for you. Now, if you're running in the winter months where it's a lot colder and you want to grab this shoe for the winter months, then by all means, I think that this shoe is going to maybe keep your foot warm. But if you're running in the summer and like I said, it's humid or you have really sweaty feet, then this shoe might not be the best option due to the lack of ventilation. And that's going to pretty much wrap up my 100+ mile review on the New Balance More V5. I think that it's a phenomenal shoe. Talking about the price, $155. They did raise the price from last year's More V4, but I do believe that it's worth it just because the $5 upgrade in performance I think was drastic enough where it was justified, the $5 increase. And I think a lot of max cushion shoes from a lot of brands these days are even more expensive than that, starting at $160, going all the way up to $200 and maybe even higher than $200. So nowadays, $155, even though it is a lot of money, I think is a good value for the More V5. I also do know that New Balance is going to throw these on sale eventually. And once they go on sale, let's say around the 120 and below category, I think that these are going to be absolute bangers. I think a lot of people are going to love running in this shoe. If you're a bigger person like me and you like to put a lot of miles on a shoe, it is going to compress a little bit, but I still think that it's going to hold up as a daily trainer / max cushion shoe in your rotation. So with all that being said, this will definitely be in my top shoes of the year. Stay tuned for that video. It's going to come out, and I don't know if it's going to be #1, but you guys are going to have to stay tuned for that video to see where this stacks up against all the other shoes that I've been loving this year. So I really recommend this shoe if you have the chance to run in it or have the chance to try it on. Give it a shot. I think you're going to really love it. I think it's one of the best max cushion shoes of the year. And yeah, that's going to pretty much wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below if you do have this shoe or if you've been enjoying another type of max cushion shoe. I'm always curious in the comments, and I'll do my best to respond to all of the comments. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for future reviews and future content. Really appreciate the support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.